Also, what I'm doing is I have a W Decklid right here. I bought this for an older car that I ended up selling because I couldn't get it to New York. I had it in my sister's garage in Atlanta. I sold it because I had it for like 5 years and I was collecting parts. So what I made here is basically what I'm making here is a replacement patch for this piece right here. As you can see, somebody did a really awful weld here, so I'm going to cut this out and I'm going to try to prefabricate this. It's almost there. It's a bit more rounded than I want, but I'm going to make sure that this lay on here without any rock to it. And once I get that done, I'm going to pinpoint an area that I'm going to cut out from. Maybe I'm going to like line this here, just draw this line here, and I'm going to cut this down, you know, like that. I'm going to cut this down to this size, and what I'm going to do is basically once I cut it out, weld in this new piece, and then also I'm going to fix right here under this section right here, which was damaged. So this one is going to be, I'm going to do a little bit more work because I'm going to create a lip that goes from this edge. So it's going to be a hard turn, and then I'm going to bring it to right about here. This is a really rare Volkswagen trunk lid, engine lid. It's for a 1957 down to 1954 or 55. And it can go older than that. It just depends on this bracket that we have back here. There's like a V-shaped bracket from 1949 to 1954 or 53. I got this section I need to repair. Just still trying to figure out how I'm going to handle that. Maybe I'll take one off a donor lid that's less expensive, like a $40 lid. I'm not sure yet, but I'll figure that out. Yeah, so other than that, it's pretty good. I don't like these hinges, so I'm really thinking about finding a donor later car and replacing it, but I'm still trying to figure it out. I just want somebody to be able to use this thing because these things are really rare. You don't see these cars around. I had one. I'm sad that I got rid of it now. That's pretty much how it's going to be. I just need to hammer. This is pretty good, but as you can see, right there's a little raised. So I'm going to hammer up here a little bit more, up here in this section, so it kind of curves a little bit more and it sits down. And probably right there on a reverse side. So we'll see. Okay, we have this W deck lid. It's called a W deck lid because it has this W shape. This starts in, ends in 1957. I think it goes down to 1954. Earlier split windows also had a W deck lid, but they had a different mount. The brackets up here was a little bit different. So what I'm going to do today is basically sand down this piece right here so I can find the spot welds, and I'm going to pull this section out. So let me see if I can show you what's going on here. I cut out this section right here. You see this? There we go. I cut out this section right here, and I cut into this plate thing here. I'm probably going to swap this out. They sell aftermarket ones, and that's pretty much close to original. So I cut this section out right here, and after I finish this, I'm going to cut this section out and replace this section. The reason that I'm doing in a section is because I don't want to lose the shape. I want to weld this in, weld another replacement piece in here, and then take this out. I want to, this thing might start bending, so I'll try to do it section by section. Up here is a little rusted too. I'm still debating what I'm going to do. Maybe I'll just pop out, drill a couple holes in there, maybe cut out a little square, and then place in that, put in that piece there. This seems like it kind of rusted through, but the metal seems pretty solid here, so I might still continue grinding down on that. And I might grind here and see what I can get so I can get rid of this deep rust here. Okay, so this is what I'm working on today, but like I said, I cut into this piece. And also what I noticed is I turn the lid over. That this lip right here is basically rusted out in this section right here and this section right here. So I'm gonna find a replacement. The brackets is a little bit out of whack here on this side. So I'm gonna probably try to repair this and properly get these hinges. And this is, these screws are wrong and these screws are wrong. And this is pretty much chunky on here. I have a rear section of a Beetle that I'm going to use to measure the hood, make sure that the hinges are on properly. I have that down in my storage area, so I'm going to get to that when I get to it. This whole process is for me to become a master at auto body and trying to keep it all metal. I got my bus back there. I don't know if you can see it in the background, but that's a bunch of filler. And when I first started trying to weld, I was whipping the body. So I'm just doing a lot of practice before I get to my bus, which I'm going to probably start in May. I'm racking up a lot of experience here. I'm starting to feel comfortable with the MIG welder, and that's where we are. Okay. I have the patch mostly cut out for this area. So far it lines up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a couple tacks in here. So this area right here seems to be level. And what I'm going to do is take off the bracket on the other side. And then I'm going to start to bend this down by hammering it. I did this contour with a plenishing hammer. So once I get the other section out, just trying to find my die grinder so I can actually find the spot welds to hold this section on. And once I get this sanded off and find the spot welds and separate this panel from this lip, I'll be able to work on that more adequately, make sure that the contour is exactly the same. And I'm going to spend a really slow time welding that together, because the last piece that I replaced, it seems like the person welded it correctly, but when they welded it, they were actually applying too much heat, and it caused the patch to sink. So let me show you what that looks like. Okay, this is the piece right here. It seemed like they cut and welded in this section right here, and as you can see, it looked like the welds kind of warped the metal. So when you turn it over, as you can see in this section, they put a little bit of filler in here. I didn't know what that was, and I'm pretty sure that's what's going on in this section right here. They put a little bit of body fill in there because I'm assuming that they were going so hot that they basically punctured a hole inside of their patch. Let's see. This is the Bondo they put in this section here. Well, you get the gist. This is actually filled in. They were welding a little too hot. The gauge metal seems like it's about right. It looks about 18 gauge. But I'm going to do it a little better so I don't have to do this again. Okay? Okay, so I got that in. And this section that needs to be raised out because I just did this with a planishing hammer. So I'm gonna go behind the other side and prop that side out, put a tack here, and then I'll be able to close this up. The contour is pretty good actually. It's this section right here. Oh, my weld just broke loose. Okay, that's it. So once I find my my die grinder, I'll start sanding off the back lip piece. I can't find it. I just took it off to put my my cutoff wheel. I don't know where I put that thing. I need to buy a few of them so I can have them laying all around. But you know, that's it so far. I'll update you shortly. See, now that I got the paint off this lip, that I'm going to have to it's a bit more work than I planned on doing. But I'm going to have to replace this whole front, this whole fold. Cause there's a body filler all up in here. So I'm going to basically cut this out and cut a thin lip, and then I'm going to rebuild this whole section. So what I'm going to do is before I actually cut it out, I'm going to measure this lip, and I'm going to cut a fold section. So what I'm going to do is this fold is pretty tight, so I'm not sure how I'm going to reproduce this flat fold right here. So I need some time to think about that. But I think I'm just going to go with like a tiny fold and a tiny trim cut all the way around here. And then once I have that fold and I measure how much I cut into the other side, I'm going to use my shrinker and then measure this, create the piece first before I cut it off, so I have something to match it up against. And then I'll go around and then I'll put the lip in. This is going to be a challenging project, but this is what I'm looking for right now, for things to kind of test my skills and help me improve. Okay, so this is it. I'm going to call it for today. I just need more time to think about how I'm going to really execute this. But I'm still going to pull this piece out today if I can. I mean, I got like 10 more minutes or so before I have to get out of here. And I'm going to separate this and pull out this piece to see if I can rework this piece. Actually, I don't need to replace this. It has a small hole here I could patch in, and that should be okay. The top brackets is another challenge, but like I said, I'm just trying to experiment here, and we'll see how this goes. Okay, so stay tuned. Got a spot weld. I'm not really worried about how I'm gonna, if I bend this apart, since this piece is actually gonna be replaced. This really sucks. Okay, hold on for a sec. Okay, I drilled a little bit off center. I got it in here. See that? It's already on loose. This piece is over here is stubborn. And let me have gloves on when I do this because this metal will cut you fast. And then I'll take the screwdriver. But there's nothing to go in here, so let me just move down to the next piece. And then once I get everything out, I can pretty much wiggle this out. So that's pretty much it. I'm gonna go all the way around. To make a long story short for today, I gotta go. But I already got this weld out, this weld out, this weld out. I need to grind down this section right here to find out where things are. I got this one out. There's some more here. I can't see them. It's hard to get my panel separators in between rusty metal. So there's no point in to go in there because it's hard to get into. There's no line to go into. So I'll have to be a little bit more, it's a little bit more time consuming. But I'll have this off during the week or during the weekend. You see that shitty ass patch job I did back there on my bus? That's what I'm trying to avoid. Okay, so I got this spot weld out, this one right here under this rusty stuff out. I need to grind this little section to find out where the rest of them. I can kind of feel them, but I just don't want to waste time. There's this one right here. I should just measure how far they are. Roughly, Volkswagen was pretty good at being consistent in patterns. They put 12 spot welds. So what I'm going to do is basically take a little bit more time to get all of this stuff out of here. It's very hard to use a panel separator because it's a lot of the spots are rusty, so it's hard to get it in between. So for today, that's all I have. Let me show you what I got so far. Recap. So I have this section tacked in. I'm trying to get the other piece out so I can hammer these two panels lightly together to make this one form. I might have to grind this one off to let it drop down, but we'll see. We'll see what we do next week. But this line is pretty fresh. I probably need to hammer this up a little bit, and hammer this up a little bit. So my whole goal is to get behind here, so I can replace that, and then I'm going to cut a strip here. I'm going to use my planishing hammer to make this replacement panel here. I'm going to cut this out, and I'm also going to deal with this little rust hole here. I think there's body filler inside of there. So that's it. That's my plan, and I'm still figuring out what I'm going to do with this little rusty section. I'm probably going to put some prep etch. You can buy this from Home Depot. It's about $15 per gallon. Let it sit in there and eat away the rust that's in between the grooves, and then I'll finish it off with a light grind so I can get it out completely. But I will put a little patch in this section right here because it's this, based on what I've been seeing, I think this is a little bit of a rust filler. Yeah, it's pressing in a little bit there, so yep, I'll deal with that. Okay.